kindly give us an opportunity to be honest. Acting President of IAS.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. Dr. A.Q. Khan, President, Pakistan Academy of Sciences, and advisor to the Chief Executive on strategic programs and care RL affairs. Professor Dr. Abdul Salam Majali, President, Islamic Academy of Sciences. Professor Dr. Atar Rahman, Minister for Science and Technology, and Coordinator General COSTEC, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a matter of great pleasure for me to extend you a warm welcome at the 12th IAS Science Conference on Material Science and Technology and Culture of Sciences. This assembly of eminent science scholars is a testimony to our determination to introspect and find ways and means to strengthen the economic base of Oman through scientific and technological self-reliance. The events of last year have resulted in a radically changed global scenario and bred negative attitudes towards the Islamic world. This makes it all the more essential that we move ahead in our resolve to match adversities by accomplishment in the field of science with a renewed sense of urgency. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I fully endorse the views expressed by Mr. Majali in his address. It's high time for Oman to reassess our shortcomings with a view to compete with the first world, which under a misguided or misguided concept is trying to create, I would say, conflict of civilization. It is very important to dispel this impression because the religion of Islam is not a religion of conflict or a culture which tries to dominate others, but it's a religion of peace, and it's brought for the welfare of human beings. In fact, all civilizations, all religions in the world are meant for the welfare of the human being. As rightly pointed out Mr. Majali, that all efforts are for upbringing the standard of the common man in the street. And therefore, it has been rightly pointed out, ignorance, disease, illiteracy, prejudice, intolerance is actually ruining the future of the mankind in this world. And therefore, it is very important for Muslim Ummah, which represents a very glorious civilization, to dispel all these impressions and to prove that we can compete with everyone in the community of nations for achieving the goal of peace. Muslim nations face unprecedented complexities of governance and economic turmoil. In the wake of the current international socio-political environment, floodgates of reaction have opened, implicitly, if not overtly, with dire consequences for the Islamic world. Needless to say that such reactions are both unjust and unrealistic. It is an unassailable truth that in its universality, Islam stands for the culture of tolerance and places the highest premium on human rights, men and women included, and mutual respect for fellow beings. It is the very image of Islam that must emerge from our actions and must be shared with world communities. In a single concept of ilm, Islam has taken its grip both science and the broader pursuits of knowledge. Thus, pursuits of knowledge in general and scientific knowledge in particular is both our duty and obligation. The Prophet of Islam, peace be upon him, said, "Seeks knowledge from cradle to grave, and seek knowledge even if you have to go to travel to China. Attainment of scientific knowledge is an irrefutable prerequisite for its utilization by the self-reliant nations for the benefit of their people. The OIC region needs to make sincere efforts in this respect. Fortunately, in this age of revolutionary breakthroughs in communication technologies, it has become much easier to share information in the field of science and technology with the privileged nations of the world and across institutional and national boundaries. We must remember that just as the nation of Europe benefited from their interaction with the contemporary Muslim world scientists, we too cannot work in isolation and must maintain in a healthy liaison with Western world in our scientific endeavors. Islamic Academy of Sciences has a very impressive tradition of organizing conferences on subjects of contemporary importance. We in Pakistan feel greatly honored and privileged in hosting the present conference, which addresses the issue of material science, technology, and the culture of science. I must give credit to Dr. Ekul Khan for inviting IAS on behalf of the Government of Pakistan and the Fellows of Pakistan Academy of Sciences to hold this conference in Islamabad. This timely thought on his part speaks volumes of the dedication of Pakistan Academy of Sciences to constantly contribute in building strong ties with the scientists in the OIC region. While the advances in technologies such as nanotechnology have opened new avenues for researchers dealing with material science, a number of other revolutionary developments in the science have occurred at the close of the 20th century. These also invite our immediate attention, and thus I am hoping that your scientific deliberations would focus not merely on the immediate themes selected for this conference, but also on the greater expectation of Oman in the scientific technological fields. Pursuits of these scientific objectives demand that we proceed with wisdom and dedication. We ought to be able to rise above narrow political imperatives and generate a framework of policies based on pooling of our rich resources of skill and wealth through mutual cooperation and understanding. So far, we have somehow shied away from generating mutual confidence and has failed in framing policies that would find unanimous favor among the governments and leaders of the Islamic world. This conference provides a historical opportunity by bringing a large body of scientists from Pakistan and other Muslim countries to a common platform in Islamabad. It is a momentous opportunity that must not go waste. Both the Pakistan Academy of Sciences and COMSTEC have been playing active role in their own right in developing programs of scientific cooperation in the OIC region. COMSTEC has initiated over the years exciting programs of cooperative research, exchange of scientists, training of technicians, maintenance of scientific equipment, supply of spare parts, and in developing a culture of dedicated scientific efforts aimed at raising the infrastructure of science in the Muslim countries. Continued collaboration of our educational institutions of higher learning and R&D organizations with COMSTEC promises to place the Ummah on the path of economic prosperity and progress. The IAS itself, under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Abdul Salam Majali, is a very strong position of leading the Ummah in sciences and in shaping its economic future. It can provide valuable guidance to the scientists, the individual governments of the OIC members, and policy makers of the Muslim world. Whereas there is urgency to take measures for innovative changes in the scientific approaches and to institutionalize a culture of science in the Islamic countries, I also wish to put spotlight on some of the serious ethical, moral, and legal accomplishment of scientific and technological progress and their impact on development and our moral fabric. Especially relevant in this context are the ongoing debates on cloning, stem cell research, genetically engineered foods, environmental complications, and no less importantly, intellectual property rights. I am hopeful that the scientific community of the Islamic countries would actively engage in a dialogue on these issues in the light of universally shared principle and the question of the quality of the institutions that are destined to educate our youth on these issues. There is no denying the fact that our survival as Muslim Ummah, both in terms of economy and defense potential, depends entirely on the kind of the science education we impart to our children, and the IAS can help to develop a long-range perspective plan for promotion of scientific literacy in the Islamic world with special focus on quality, morals, and ethics. The dignity of nations in a highly competitive world depends on the quality of educational institutions of the learning, as well as on productivity of knowledge, scientific knowledge, and its application in particular. We must therefore move with haste by developing a culture and tradition of science that would facilitate the development of human resources that is both responsible and equipped with the scientific foresight. In this process, scientific growth must occur hand in hand with moral growth, squarely in the light of the Islamic teaching, as well as in consonance with the needs of the society and the market. We have to overcome poverty and problems of cultural identity. Scientific and technological uplifts of the Ummah holds key in this regard. It is heartening to note that the natural resources with which the Muslim world is gifted are immensely vast and precious. Their sustainable exploitation and utilization for the benefit of our people demands that we mobilize both political will and earnest efforts in achieving excellence in all fields. In phases to begin with, by taking revolutionary steps in upgrading our educational system. It is the quality of educational opportunities which the Ummah promises to provide to its youth that will lead the Muslim world to compete successfully in the areas of high technology in the 21st century. We must seriously address the question as to how long can the OIC people remain consumers of technology rather than the producers of technology. The Muslim world can place its faith in IAS for guidance in these matters of utmost urgency and in coping with the compulsions of a global economy warranting new initiatives and strategies for the topic. Our government during the recent year has taken a number of bold initiatives to strengthen our education system, scientific and technological activities in Pakistan. It is my earnest hope that similar revolutionary measures would be adopted elsewhere too in the Islamic world. In the end, I feel greatly honored to have this opportunity to share with you some of my thoughts briefly and feel confident that this conference will generate a number of new ideas. I wish you all success in your deliberations and hope that your stay in Islamabad would be enjoyable and productive. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have received a message from His Royal Highness